everybody, welcome to another health show episode number 9. This is Siobhan Guthrie. I'm in my Westport Kinesiology clinic and delighted to be recording live our next episode. This time we're going to be talking about adrenal stress, adrenal fatigue, and it's a topic that has got you all talking. We've had over 100 people register for this call, so we're really delighted to be covering topics that you're interested in, and and also I'd say if you have a topic that you'd like us to discuss, to chat about and to demonstrate about with kinesiology, then do get in touch with the office. So today we're going to be talking about adrenal stress. It's something that is on the rise, and a lot of people are suffering from fatigue, suffering from low energy, not being able to, like simple tasks seem more difficult just to do, and so that's what we're going to be showing you how we test for it in kinesiology. I'm going to also at the end tell you about a way in which you can test it yourself, not by itself, but it's something, maybe a self-test. You could see whether it's maybe a factor to be involved in, that could be involved in how you're feeling. So I have Natasha on the table again.
Sorry, I'm just going to interrupt. Just our camera is turning sideways, I think, so we need to...
Do we need to have it lengthways?
Yeah, it seems to be that you're coming up sideways.
Okay. Is that better?
No, we're just a little bit behind delayed here.
Okay.
So it'll pop up now.
Okay.
Yes, perfect.
All right. So let's see if we can get the screen properly for you. All right. Hi Glynis. Hi James. Great to see you. So yeah, the purpose of our adrenal glands is to help your body cope with stress and ultimately to survive. And so it's an important part of our health system. And so your energy, your stamina, your endurance is all determined by the strength of your adrenal glands. And so whether it's your ability to fight infection or whether it is just simply getting out of bed in the morning, they are all things that if you are struggling with infections, then the hormones that are secreted by the adrenal glands all have an impact on our ability to do that. And so hypoadrenia, or low adrenal function, is a deficiency in their ability to perform. And so Addison's disease is maybe the medical term, which would be very rare. It's it's at the extreme end of low adrenal function. And but fatigue is your key function, or your key adrenal function that would be affected, and that you could, if you feel tired all the time, if you feel not just tired but like no recovery, like you wake up and you're still exhausted, you don't feel refreshed, then that is something to maybe suspect that adrenal fatigue is part of your problems. Obviously fatigue is a complaint of other conditions as well, so you don't want to just assume that it's adrenal function. Another common complaint would be low blood sugar. If you have struggles with cravings, you feel better when you've maybe had some sugar or a stimulant like coffee, or maybe even a cigarette, that would also be could be a result of low blood sugar connected with low adrenal function. Another symptom would be PMS, or struggling through the menopause. Those would be those are big symptoms that are associated with adrenal stress as well. And of course, then in terms of our mental health, we're looking at our general chart that we use. We're looking at mental health as well. Things like fear or anxiety, depression can all be made worse when the adrenals are involved. And so we're going to look at some of the causes of adrenal fatigue, adrenal stress, from our general chart that we use in terms of mental health. You've got your fears, you've got anxieties, stressful job, I always get this wrong, stressful job, unhappy marriage or relationship, death of a loved one, can all be kind of like major events in our lives that can have an impact, a short-term impact, but also long-term. Financial pressures, fears, things like that. On the physical side, poor sleep, not being able to sleep, or burning the candle at both ends, working too late, staying up too late, lack of downtime. All things that, you know, they're all about, I suppose, our choices that we make every day, that it can be having an impact, maybe a higher toll than we've appreciated. And so then, you know, I suppose then from the chemistry side of things, we're looking at foods, food sensitivities, choices that we're eating, the foods that we're choosing to eat every day. If it's full of processed foods, then we may not be getting the nutritional support that we need. I think probably the most important thing around that is that our adrenals react to stress regardless of the source of where that's come from. So we often think about, oh, well, you know, Johnny's very stressed, and we look at the emotional side. We're looking at the job that's really busy, or maybe, you know, divorce or moving house and things like that. But we're not necessarily then thinking about the food that Johnny is eating on a daily basis. Maybe it's like a lot of carbohydrates, like fueled on glucose, and then not getting the wide range of nutrition that our bodies need. So I suppose the key thing is everyone is different to how they react to stress, and maybe a major life event has happened, and now their tolerance level has changed, and so it's something that can develop at any age, but can also develop after a major event. So the type of person who suffers from adrenal stress is maybe someone who's not getting enough enough rest and relaxation. And we're going to talk about the recommendations in a little bit. But if someone's under constant pressure, that is another indication that maybe they need to support their adrenals a bit more. Someone who feels overwhelmed or trapped or can't, feels helpless around a particular situation, that can also make a difference, and it can affect people from all walks of life. There are some roles, some jobs that people particularly might feel that may be more prone to stress levels, high stress levels, would be like nurses and doctors, and maybe the police force and Garda Síochána here. The sort of high level executives, university students, all people who are kind of like long-term. Part of their job is to be able to, respond to different stress levels, and then those who've had, as we said, life events that are, got major surgeries, or death of a loved one, or a friend. A close friend, or somebody who's maybe lost their stable job, all sorts of things like that can be like the trigger event, if you like. But from a MCPE perspective, from our holistic perspective that we constantly refer to, is that we're looking at the emotional side. Obviously, we're going to look at the chemistry side, and as well as the physical. And really, at the end of the day, it's a combination of all of those stresses. So it may be that your diet hasn't really changed over the last few years. Or your diet has been really bad, but you've been able to go to bed late and there's no problems. But then maybe you get an infection, and that infection is maybe the trigger event that makes a difference. And so maybe it's something that has happened, as we said, a sudden event, or maybe there's you're caring for somebody through a long-term illness. And so those are all things that can be the kind of the tipping point, if you like. And so definitely, worth, supporting the adrenals, because really it's a combination of all of those factors. So one of the things, I suppose, the good news is that in terms of what you can do is look at your diet. Look at things that that are in your control, in your lifestyle, that you can have, be taking some positive action. It's not all bad news. So one of the things that I suppose that the diseases that do stand out for people who may have a adrenal problem is, obviously we've mentioned fatigue, but chronic fatigue, long-term tiredness, maybe not even able to get out of bed for just a few hours a day. You've got fibromyalgia as well, can also be a part of that, and we mentioned hypoglycemia, but also respiratory infections. Anything like that can really trigger your adrenal stress. So one of the key symptoms we mentioned was about waking up tired and not feeling refreshed, and that is definitely a key. If you go to bed, and even you may even sleep, you may sleep fully but don't feel refreshed, and that's a key symptom. Maybe you have cravings for salty foods. Again, part of the adrenal mechanism. Lack of energy, an increased effort to do everyday tasks. Like, why does it feel so difficult? Little things can bother you. So before you would have passed it off and it'd be fine, but you get maybe a little bit of an anxiety or a bit of road rage, or maybe even compulsive eating or smoking or looking for stimulants just to feel normal, like coffee, alcohol, things like that, and sugar. Really craving sugar, because it's a stimulant as well. So yeah, what I'm going to do then is I'm going to demonstrate here on Natasha. So I just want to bring the camera in a little bit and see if we can show you how we test for it in kinesiology. So let me just check that you can see me here. So not quite on Facebook Live. Okay. So the muscle, obviously, those of you who've been watching for a while, we try and do a demonstration so that you can see how we test in kinesiology for the different areas of the body, the different organs. And obviously, the adrenal glands are part of an endocrine system, so associated with the thyroid and pituitary. And so today is just about showing you about the adrenal test, all right? Obviously you need to go to a practitioner if you want it to be tested, but the adrenal glands are, they sit on top of, physically they sit at the back of the body on top of the kidney organ. So they're little caps that sit on top of the kidneys. They're quite close to the liver as well, and they work alongside that. But the muscle itself is called the sartorius muscle. And it stabilizes the pelvis and inserts into the knee. So again, some other symptoms might be that you have, maybe some knee pain, maybe unstable lower back and you get back pain. They can all be part and parcel of this muscle not functioning properly. And so while you may think, oh, it's back pain, I need to get something physical done to the body, then maybe that it's the muscle being out of balance. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate our muscle test, and so we can see on Natasha how she's doing with her adrenal stress, and then I'm going to see whether there's some elements of things that we can identify the root causes. And so while obviously this is a demonstration, we're just going to be doing this very shortly. It is something that we'd go into in depth more so on our, if someone came to me as a practitioner and to see me in my clinic. So what we're going to do is I'll show you first of all the test. Okay, so we're going to get the muscle into position. So the leg is bent. Hopefully you can see that okay. I might just bring this one down a little bit. There we go. And I'm going to pull here at the ankle. So you're going to pull up towards me to resist my pressure, okay? So hold up for me. And so if you can see how that really weakens, we have another one on this side of the body as well. So let's test here. And again, you're pulling up towards you and hold. And so those are not working very well. With kinesiology, we have several ways in which we balance the body, how we work with the body. And so I just want to see I don't see if we're going to be able to see this on Facebook, but what I'm going to do is the lymphatic reflexes that help support the adrenals are about 1 inch and 2 inches up from the navel. Okay, so if you were to do that on yourself, you just kind of go 1 inch out and 2 inches up. It's quite near the rib cage as well. And so what you can see that she's holding those points. I'm now going to retest the muscle, so you can't see, but she still has them hold, okay? And I just want to see, does that do anything to the muscle response? And so when I hold here, yeah, you can see that. And again, hold up for me. And now she's able to hold that muscle strong. So pull up again for me. Really, really strong. She takes her hands away, and we do that. We just show you that the hands are away again, okay? And then we're going to retest. And again, pull up for me. And that strength has gone. So we definitely know that there's a physiological reason for those muscles testing weak. And what we want to do is also see, so this muscle is still weak. Nutritionally wise, the body loves vitamin C. The adrenals love vitamin C, and it can be quite high doses of vitamin C can be beneficial. So I'm going to test her for some vitamin C, but other supplements that people, or nutrition if you like, that is particularly supports the adrenals would be B3, which is niacin, and B5, which is pantothenic acid, pantethine, and also B6. Great anti-stress vitamin. Vitamin E can also play a role as well. And so I'm going to test her for the vitamin C as well as the B3 and the B5. As I said, there could be other things in there, but just to give you a sense of what we do, I'm going to test her for the vitamin C. Now we do have something called ascorbic acid. Ascorbic acid may or may not strengthen her. Vitamin C is, ascorbic acid is a vitamin C, but sometimes they need, sometimes the adrenals need more, a different type, maybe more bioflavonoids in it, a more complex vitamin C. So we're going to put the pure vitamin C, the pure ascorbic acid on her there, and we're going to see, does that make any difference to our muscle response? So all I've done is I've just put the vitamin C on her, okay, and then we're going to go to this muscle. So pull up again for me. And so it's not really making any difference whatsoever. So it would be a waste of time for her to take that as a supplement. I think this is really the only way that I would know how, what was the best supplement for someone to take is by testing it, okay? Because some people might respond beautifully to vitamin C and ascorbic acid. Everybody's different, everybody reacts differently, and so it's a great way to find out specifically what your supplement is. So again, pull up for me. So she's doing a lot better on a different type of vitamin C. It's more of a buffered vitamin C, so she likes that. So I'm going to test her for the B3, which is the niacin. So I'm just putting them on into the circuit, as we say, and just what kinesiology is a way of being able to test strong, test weak. It's a binary mechanism. So we're just asking, really, is that supplement, merging with her energies? Is it beneficial to her? So so pull up again for me. So she really likes that one as well. That was the B3, I think, yeah. And then we've got our pantethine, so a B5. And again, pull up for me. And not so much. She doesn't like that one. So again, we don't have to waste her time, her finances, by giving her something that she doesn't need. And so we would, so we've got our nutrition is part of supporting the adrenals. We also have the lymphatic reflex that's going to support the adrenals. And if she rubs these points every day and takes the supplements every day, and obviously there's other lifestyle things that we need to look at as well. But we can also look and see from the emotional perspective. Kinesiology is very much about being able to address all of the possible causes. We talked about that at the beginning, all the different combination of factors is that if we didn't deal with a major life event that maybe she's gone through, or we didn't deal with any kind of current stresses that she's currently going through, and only looked at supporting the adrenals, it's not necessarily going to clear everything about the adrenal stresses. It is a complicated problem. It's long term. It's usually chronic. And so therefore, you know, it's about having patience too when we're working with a client. So, you know, the recovery is very much about lifestyle, which is where kinesiology and systematic kinesiology is so good at being able to identify the different aspects of what's going on for health problems. What you eat and drink is very important. So with Natasha, what I would probably also do is I'd do some food testing and seeing, and I think pretty sure there's another episode we did some food testing. I'll have to see, do we remember which one it is, but one of the episodes of our health show was about food testing, so I'm not necessarily going to get into that now, but it's that is totally definitely a factor in adrenal stress. Things that we're eating that our body responds to as a stress. Remember, it's regardless of source. It doesn't see, you know, emotional stress is any different to food stress. What you think about is also a route to recovery, you know, thinking about positive things, looking for the good in things, being grateful, being aware of how much gratitude and abundance that we have. How, you know, sleep and rest is key to the recovery of the adrenal stress. And again, thinking about our environment, and you know, if we get too warm or too cold, that can have an effect on our health. But also who we spend time with as well is key. So yeah, one of the key things with adrenal stress is looking at our rest and relaxation, because you cannot heal your adrenal glands without taking more focus on rest. One of the key things would be when we talk about rest and relaxation and going to bed early. One of the best things you can do for adrenal stress is to get to bed before 10:30, and as much as possible, if you can get to have a lie in, even till sort of 9 a.m. on a regular basis, or at least as many times as you can. Maybe sometimes people can do that at the weekend more so than they can do during the week, but the more times you do that, it's actually really restorative for the adrenal glands. So don't feel guilty about that. You know, it's like you're supporting your health. You put the sick body to rest. That's the thing. And most times what we're doing is we're forcing through, you know, we've got that drive to get to work, and you know, multiple things that we're doing and loads that we're carrying. It's really important to take that into consideration when you are suffering, when you don't want to be burnt out, and I suppose it's the next step before that. So yeah, we've talked about vitamin C, and yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to balance this muscle now. So where Natasha held, which was 1 inch out, 2 inches above, we found the nutrition, which was niacin and our vitamin C. So we'll just put that there. We would usually put that into the mouth so that she could actually take the supplement, so that she's thinking about the stress. She's holding the nutrition in her mouth. It could be chewing on the supplement and rubbing this lymphatic reflex at the same time. So I'm just going to rub here so that you can see that as well. So it's nice and gentle. So literally you could rub those points yourself. And we didn't test for stress, but you know, she can think of a stress or two, I'm sure. And we've got the nutrition there as well. And we might need to rub these points for maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes. They can be sometimes quite tender. How does it feel? A bit tender? So it's a little bit tender, a sign that they need to be rubbed. And she could do that every single day for, you know, until she's starting to feel better. So it's something that you can do to really support the adrenals. And then obviously it's lifestyle. So some of the things that you want to avoid doing is getting overtired. You want to avoid taking stimulants, you know, like coffee. Some people can't start the day without having a cup of coffee to feel normal. And I was talking to some people, I've never drunk tea or coffee. I nothing to do with health. I've just never liked them. And so but apparently I would feel how you would feel after a coffee. So it's just normal. And so for people who drink coffee, you know, I know it can be quite a difficult thing to wean yourself off coffee, but after about 3 or 4 days, maybe a week, then you'll feel like you'll have a new baseline as to what normal feels like. avoid going to bed too late, and at the same time I'd say don't be too harsh on yourself either, that we all slip into watching TV or working too late. And so getting to bed, as I said, around 10, half 10 is a good practice to get into when you're recovering. Avoid foods that you're addicted to or crave, or foods that you're sensitive to. So as we said in another video, what I would do with Natasha is I would test her foods and suggest that she leaves those to one side, and usually you'll start to feel a bit better, because again, it's another source, or maybe a hidden source of stresses that you might not even be aware that are causing you stress. And avoid sugar and fruit, particularly in the morning. Also, people can be very fructose sensitive with adrenal stress. So good to avoid those things. So do go to bed before 10 o'clock as much as possible. Sleep in if you can, take supplements if you can. Look after your digestive tract. This is where the food sensitivities come in. So what you are wanting to do is, maybe chew your food well too. Like when you are eating something, when we're rushing and we're addicted to rushing and we're adrenally stressed, then we can literally chomp food and gulp and it's gone, and the body doesn't even know what's in it. And so our stomach then we can have digestive issues as well. We looked from the emotional point of view. We talked about gratitude, and laughter is a great thing to look for ways to find some joy and laughter in your life. Drink water. Again, if dehydration is another stress to the body that you might not be aware of. And with general stress, or the adrenal stress, it's really a syndrome of different components. And so it's, the more ways in which we can support the body, the better. And find ways to stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system. So when we are adrenally stressed, we're in sympathetic. We're like all fired, all guns blazing. And we want to get into the parasympathetic. That's where we can relax. And so things like deep breathing, belly breathing can really help to switch us over into this relaxation response. Yoga, anything that a lovely walk down the beach, you're not thinking about the day, you're just enjoying and being grateful for the view, whatever it is. But also a kinesiology balance will also, I feel, help you to come down into that relaxation response. So really, really important. So I realise that we are nearly at the top of the half hour. So have we got any questions that...
Yeah, we've had some great... Deborah here mentions too that salt craving can be a good indicator of adrenal stress.
Yep.
Amy is really interested in what she's learning right now. Someone also asked, how long would you have to take supplements to see a difference? Okay, so supplements, yeah.
It all depends on how long you've had the chronic stress. It is so I would usually recommend at least one pack, say 1 month's supply. The blood changes over every 3 months, so another recommendation is around 3 months. But ultimately, like what we saw here with Natasha, her needs may change. So maybe the vitamin C might need to be adjusted, or maybe the B5 will come up later, having taken the B3. Maybe the B5 will help. I just want to double check this muscle now and see how we're doing. We didn't do a huge amount of stress. So the nutrition's off. She's no longer touching her body here with the points, and we're going to test this muscle. So we only did a little bit, but pull it for me. So that is nice and strong. So we've got that a bit stronger for her, and so this would be my advice: is to take the vitamin C, to rub the lymphatic points. And then all the things, avoiding food sensitivities, going to bed early, and getting a lie in every so often as much as you can. And hopefully that will, and drinking water, absolutely. Any other questions?
There's someone, it's just a little off topic, they're just asking about our roadshow, if we were covering adrenal stress on our roadshow.
Okay, so yeah, we are going on the road in July, end of July. We're starting here in Westport on the Sunday, the 23rd of July. And each evening, up from Ballybuffet in Donegal through Sligo, Tuam, Fermoy, New Ross, Navan, and in Dublin, we are going to be doing a series of free talks on weight loss and diabetes and digestive health. We're going to be talking about stress and fatigue and chronic pain, and as well as Alzheimer's and brain health and aging. And so we're going to be, if you want to check it out, they're free talks. Sligo is on at lunchtime, but otherwise it's in the evenings. And they're free. Come along, register. We have we'll have a gift bag for the first 30 in each location. And so if you go to KinesiologyZone.com/roadshow, we will, myself and the team, we're going to be traveling around all of Ireland for this week. So starting on the Sunday the 23rd through to Friday the 28th, and then on Saturday the 29th we're going to be doing a taster event, which is where you can start to try out some muscle testing yourself. But all the details about the roadshow are on KinesiologyZone.com/roadshow. We'll get that link into the comments as well. And we'd lovely to see you there, and you can start to experience, to hear a bit more about about the message that we have for the rest of Ireland. So I think that's everything.
Yeah, and we just want to mention our next Facebook Live if anyone wants to get questions in for that.
So our next episode, which will be episode number 10, will be taking place on Thursday?
20th of July.
Thursday the 20th of July. And that is going to be on digestive health, and leaky gut is one of the conditions, I suppose, that can happen with our gut health. And so whether you've avoided, sometimes people have avoided gluten and they think, oh, my digestive problems are still there. And so we will be talking about that. I'll leave it till episode 10. And that's everything, is it?
Yeah.
So yeah, I look forward to seeing you maybe on the roadshow. If you have any other topics that you would like us to be chatting about, we'll try and do these lunchtime sessions in about 30 minutes. I think we're just slightly going over time. But yeah, we try and show you a demo. Our message really is around how we can take control of our own health through lifestyle, through looking at the stresses and our beliefs and how we're thinking every day, as well as nutrition and food sensitivities, and how really there are lots of things you can do. You don't have to feel overwhelmed. You don't have to feel stuck or struggling. There's always something that you can do. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed today's health show, episode number 9 about adrenal stress, and do continue to keep in touch with us. We'd love to hear from you again. All right, thanks a million. Bye guys.